So yesterday we talked about how to. Yesterday was day 4. Fine, I was on a different machine actually. Fine, and we talked about what are XPaths and all, and how to manage stuff with XPaths, right? So, and I also talked about various other identifiers like name, ID, and all, everything. Fine. Let me make a new project today, day 5. Day 3 and day 4 were on different PCs, so I don't have them on this PC. I'll include the Selenium jar files. Right. So now, I talked about gmail.com yesterday, right? That is, I made a simple program. I'll make it again because I'm on different PC, called as gmail.java, right? And after that, I'll write WebDriver equals to new Firefox driver, and driver.get http gmail.com. Right. Then I told you that everything on a web page is a web element. Fine. So for example, you can write web element username equals to driver dot find element by the XPath, and you can give the XPath of the username, and you can find the username field. Fine. I'll open up my Firefox. Hold on. I've just shifted back to the older version of Firefox because I also work on QTP. Just a minute. It'll just take me 1 minute. Let me upgrade Firefox. I'm just upgrading my Firefox, and just a minute. Okay, just cancel. Yeah. So now on this Firefox window, if I move to gmail.com, and if we look at the username field, fine, then it's the ID is email, so you can keep the XPath like that. It's an input type with the ID equals to email. So this is what we saw yesterday, right? You can extract an element like this in the basis of XPath, and then you can use it. You can write a username dot, you'll get all the options which you can perform with a web element. So you can write over here send keys, and you can write anything out here. When you run this, hold on, a new Firefox window will open. You see that? It opens and the user types in something out here. Right. So in this thing, Look, to deal with one web component, for example, username, I am writing 2 lines. So I can write this complete stuff in 1 line as well. I can write driver.find element by the ID by the expert email dot directly send keys hello. So what will happen is that execution starts from the left side. First, this part would be executed, the element would be found, and then send keys would be fired. Okay. So if I run this, first this would be written, and after that hello would be written. So if you run this, you will see the Firefox will open, and see, first this was written and then hello was written. In case you want to clear the text field in between, you can write username dot clear over here also. So this will clear the contents of the text field. Okay, and as I told you yesterday, if you want to get the description of what all functions can be called, you can go here on Google, just type download Selenium, and you can go to the downloads page over here into the Java documentation. And as I had told you yesterday, that a web element is what everything is on the page. Everything is a web element. So you can fire all these functions. For example, I just told you about clear function. If this element is a text entry element, then it will clear the value. Okay, right? Now the major thing is that every element on the page will not have an ID always. For example, you were lucky here that this input field had an ID. Okay, but if you talk about, for example, I want to read this text, that is Gmail is, hold on, yeah, that is Gmail is built on the idea that email can be. So I want to extract this text from the application. If you look at this text out here, then this text is under the para tag P. P is a para tag. Technically it's known as a para tag. Fine. Now this tag has got no attribute. It's got no attribute at all. So you can use XPATHS out here to identify this particular text. Okay. Actually, I removed FirePath. Let me put FirePath back onto my Firefox. Just a minute. I'll just put FirePath. Alright. So the browser will restart, and now when I open Firebug, I will have FirePath there. So I can take the XPath of this element. So this is the XPath. I am getting the absolute XPath out here. Anyways, I'll use this, and you simply write driver dot find element, by which criteria I am talking about XPath. And I have given the XPath of the text. So this will find the text, okay, but it will find the web element corresponding to the text, not the actual text. If you want to get the actual text, you use the command dot get text. Okay. Now what get text does, according to the documentation, right? If you look at the documentation, that is this documentation, you will see that I have to again open it. yeah, web element out here. Okay, in this one of the functions is get text. It gets the visible text. Fine. So dot get text you write and it will return me the text, and you can print the text. So now when you run this, you will get the text from the application as well. So sometimes the element has got no ID, no name, nothing. Okay, at that time we can use XPaths, or we can also use CSS locators. I'll talk about CSS locators as well. And if you look at the output, so this is the text. Fine. Now most of you would be thinking, fine, this is fine, but I want to write my own test case. I want to generate my reports. I want to read the data from the Excel files and all everything. And I want the stuff to be happening in a very practical way, right? I'm not jumping to very advanced things right now, but first my motive is to make you understand how Selenium works. Once you understand how Selenium works, generating reports, writing test cases is just a piece of cake. Fine. First learn the tool, learn the operations, learn how to manage it, learn how to manipulate it, and then you'll understand it. Okay. Now out here, after writing this get text, you get the text out of the element. Fine. Now what is happening is that I am going back and forth. That is, I am going to the documentation out here. I am reading what a function does. Then I can come back and I can use the function. Right. So now what I will do is, instead of doing that, you can import the complete Java documentation into Eclipse. That feature is available. That is, no need to go to this documentation. You can import the complete documentation. You can import it online into Eclipse. Right. To do so, you first of all have to go to Eclipse. Hold on, yeah. Go to your project in Eclipse, right click on the project, go to the properties of the project, okay, and go to the libraries tab under which all the jar files are lying. Fine. Now one of the major jar files is Selenium, Java, and the version. Right now it is 2.28, I am using 2.24. There is not much of a difference, major bugs have been fixed. Okay, but for learning, this is also more than enough. Fine. So this is the main jar file, Selenium Java 2.24.1.jar. You expand this jar, and you will see. Okay. Now the Java docs are present online. They are present at this link. Okay. You copy this link, right click. You copy the link location. Right. So I am copying the link location out here, and you edit this, edit the Java doc location, right, and give the URL. The first radio button is to give the URL, and from the URL remove index.html. Okay, remove index.html. Java doc in archive. This second option is that in case you have the Java docs on your local machine. But generally these Java docs, they are not downloadable, they are only present online. So I will put them out here. Okay, I will not write index.html. When you click on OK, Java docs have been added in your project. OK again. Now you will see the thing, you will see the difference. For example, I move my mouse over Firefox driver. As soon as I move my mouse, I get the declaration that what Firefox driver class is about. Or for example, I write over here driver.findElement dot. I get all these functions. When you click on a function, you will get what the function does. For example, get text function. It gets the visible text. Okay, so this way you can import the documentation of Selenium into Eclipse, and this is very helpful. This does not mean that you will not have to refer Java docs online. You will have to refer sometimes, but the frequency would be less. right? For example, if I am writing a driver dot, I get so many functions, but I don't know what these functions they do. So if I look at, say, the function get current URL, I click on it, I get the definition. Get the string representing the current URL that the browser is looking at. That means if I fire the current URL, I will get the URL which is present inside the address bar on the top. Fine. So learning how to read documentation is very important. Okay, because honestly speaking, there are so many things in this Selenium, right? You see, there are so many classes that even I cannot complete everything. I cannot tell you about all the classes in the course. Okay, but it's up to you. It is on your willingness and your capability that you can actually look at the classes, you can understand from them what they do, you can get them into Eclipse, use them, you can use Java docs into Eclipse, and that's how you learn it. Fine, I'm telling you the way to learn it actually. Fine, you cannot learn this tool by watching me code or something. You have to get down and you have to write your own code, and then only you can learn it. Okay, that's how I have actually learned it. Fine. Now one more thing which I wanted to discuss, that look, this is my Firefox browser. Okay, now in this browser I have got Firebug add-on. Fine, I have got the bookmarks. I have some bookmarks of my own. Fine, and like I'll have my own history, what all I saw on this browser and all, everything, right? Now when you run the Selenium script, okay, when you run the Selenium script, you will see that the browser which is opened by Selenium is a kind of blank browser. That is, it's not got any set of bookmarks which you had in the earlier browser. Okay, even it's not got Firebug inside it. It's just like a fresh Firefox which is installed on your system. It's got nothing in it, right? Now many times what happens is, this is a very simple thing that I just opened Gmail homepage and that's it. Many times your script fails in between. Okay, when you are developing the script, your script fails in between, and you need to investigate that where it is failing, and you need to have Firebug in the same window in which the script is running. Now in this window there is no Firebug. Okay, so we will now look why there is no Firebug and how to bring it. Well, this is because of the concept of Firefox profiling. Fine. Anybody out here who does not know the concept of Firefox profiling, I'll explain it. Do you guys know the concept of Firefox profiling?
No, it will be better if you tell it.
Fine. Now suppose that I have my machine, right? I share the machine with one of my friends. Okay, and I want that when I open up Firefox, it should be my own Firefox. It should have the bookmarks which I have got in the Firefox. It should have the add-ons which I have in the Firefox. But when my friends want that, he wants that when he opens Firefox, he should not be able to see his set of bookmarks. Rather, he should be able to see his set of bookmarks, his set of add-ons. That means a customizable Firefox which is there for my friend, and another customizable Firefox which is there for me. Okay, so this is possible in Firefox, and this is possible through the concept of Firefox profiling. Okay, to understand this, the concept of Firefox profiling, the step number 1 is close Firefox from File Exit menu. Do not close Firefox from here. from the top right cross, close Firefox from file exit menu. Firefox will be closed. Okay. After that, go to run and type firefox.exe -p profile manager. Give this command and you will see a window like this coming up. Okay, so you can create multiple profiles of Firefox on your machine. I will give you this command on WebEx chat to everybody. Right now, this is the Firefox choose profile window, user profile. You can create your own profile. For example, I'll create a profile called as Ashish, my name. Right. So what will happen is that this profile will be opened. Okay. You can click on Start Firefox and it will open my particular profile, and this profile would be, right now it is a brand new profile. It's just like the Firefox which is freshly installed on the system. Okay, I'll close this profile from file exit and I can add another profile. For example, I can add a profile called friend. So this will be my friend's profile. So when he wants to start Firefox, he can start up this particular profile. So this would again be a altogether different profile. So that this means it's like an instance of Firefox, but different instances of Firefox in one machine. Okay, right? So now what Selenium does is that when you write new Firefox driver, it launches a new Firefox. Okay, but it internally creates altogether new profile and launches it, right? And when if you close Firefox in the end, that profile will be gone. Okay, so when Selenium starts the Firefox, it starts the Firefox by creating an altogether new profile. Okay, so instead of asking Selenium to create a new profile, I will ask Selenium to actually start this profile called say friend. Okay, and suppose in this friend profile I go and install, I go to google.com and hold on, suppose I bookmark this page google.com, fine, and I write over here download. Now my major objective is that Firebug should be present in the window in which script is running. Fine. So if I go to Firebug, hold on. And I add it into Firefox. Just a minute. So I'm going to force Selenium to open up this friend profile rather than opening up a new profile every time. Okay, so hold on, I'll install this. Alright, and I'll restart manually. Right, so this is the friend profile. It's got the bookmark Google and it's got Firebug also present inside it. Fine. Now how do I open up a particular profile with Firefox? Fine. The first of all, to understand this, you need to understand the concept of constructors in Java language. Okay, you need to understand the concept of constructors. You write over here, just a minute. Yeah, so out here, what I'll do is I'll make a class. Fine, I'll make a class called as say student. Right, I'm coming back to Java language. I'm explaining you the concept of constructors. Okay. Now, what all properties the student has? He has a name, then what type of course he is doing, right? And int age. So these are the three properties of student. Okay. Now, if I have to, I suppose I make a new class called test.java, and in this I create the object of student. I write student s1 equals to new student. Okay. When you write s1 dot name is say student A, s1 dot course is say C1, and s1 dot age is 20. Fine. Suppose I make a new student class, student s2 equals to new student, and s2 dot name is student B, s2 dot course is C2, s2 dot age is 30. Right. Now I can keep on creating as many objects of the student class as I want. The problem out here which I am facing is that I have to initialize each and every property of the student class separately on a different line. Now suppose the student class, instead of having 3 variables, it has got suppose total 10 variables, 10 properties for a student. Then for every object I will have to write 10 separate lines over here to initialize the student object. Now this is the overhead. Suppose if I have to make 50 objects, then will I be just writing 500 lines to initialize the object? I hope you are getting my point. Right? If you are not able to understand, please let me know. Right? So in that case, we use something known as constructors. They what they do is that they initialize objects in a very quick way. Okay. Now constructor it looks like this: public student. Student is the name of the constructor is same as the name of the class. Please note, the name of the constructor is same as the name of the class, and constructor has got no return type like void or int or something. Fine. So the name of the constructor is same as the name of the class, and suppose I am writing public student and I write system.out.println inside constructor. Okay. Now when is constructor called, you will see that the constructor is called every time I create the object. Whenever I write new student, automatically this constructor would be called every time I create the object. If I run this, you will see that in the inside constructor is printed 2 times. Whenever I create the object of the class, whenever I write new student, okay, the constructor would be called. Now it would be called 4 times. If you run this, you will see inside constructor written 4 times out here. Okay, fine. So that means constructor is called when you create the object. Automatically it is called. Fine. So what I can do is I can make one more form of this constructor. I can write over here public student string name string course and int age. Fine. So this is a student constructor with 3 input parameters, right? Or I'll just write N, C and A, and inside it I will write name equals to N, course equals to C, and age equals to A. Now when I have to create the object of the class, instead of creating the object in this way, I will create the object like this. Student S3 equals to new student. On the fly I will give the name, right? For example, Harry, course is MBA, and age is 30. So you can create as many objects like this as you want. Automatically that constructor would be called, and right, automatically this constructor would be called, and the values of the object would get initialized. So you really don't have to worry for initializing the object like this. Now this was a tedious thing. Out here I'm just calling the constructor and I'm passing over the value. So if I write over here system.out.println s3 dot suppose name, and I will pick the name for S4 as well. If I do this and if you run this, you will see that in console S3 and S4 both the names would be printed. Okay, so like in a nutshell, constructor is something which helps you to initialize your object. Okay, now this thing over here is known as overloading. That is, the name is same and the number of parameters, they are different. Okay, you might be asked a question about this in the interview, because this is one of the famous concepts of object-oriented programming. That is, what is overloading? This is constructor overloading. That is, the name is same but the number of parameters are different. Similarly, I can have functions as well. For example, I'll write over here public void, say just a minute, a function like public void say calculate area. Fine. In this function you will send int length comma int breadth. So for example, this is one function. Similarly, I can make one more function called as public void calculate area. In this I will send just one integer called as radius. So these two functions, they have the same name but they have got different input parameters. This function just accepts one integer, but this function accepts two integers, but names are same. So this is known as overloading, concept of overloading. Right, this second function is to calculate the area of a circle and pass over the radius. This function is to calculate the area of a rectangle. Concept is quite simple. The only thing is people sometimes they don't know about it. Right. Anyways, coming back to the topic. So you can create the object of the class student. You can pass over different parameters to it, and on the fly the object would be initialized. Now let's come back to the concept of Firefox profiling and see how this will be used. Right. There is an internal class known as profiles ini. You create the object of this class new profiles INI, right? Now from this object all profiles, you get the profile corresponding to the profile name, say friend. Now what am I doing? Profiles INI is a class which kind of represents all the profiles which are present on the machine, right? If I create the object of this class, then you get all the profiles which are there on the machine. Okay, and from all the profiles you need to get the profile. Get profile is a function inside it, okay, and it returns you the profile friend, and actually it returns you the object of the class known as Firefox profile. Okay, this one. So you can write over here Firefox profile called as P equals to this, right? So all profiles dot get profile friend. So what will happen is it will give you the object of Firefox profile, and in the Firefox driver constructor, right, you can pass over that profile P. One of the constructors of Firefox driver class, it accepts the profile. If you look at the documentation, if I go over here and type download Selenium, you will see that under Java Talks, yeah. If you look at the class Firefox driver, then hold on, these are all the constructors of Firefox driver class. We use this, and one of the constructors accepts the object of Firefox profile. Okay, so you create the object of Firefox profile and give the Firefox profile object over here in the constructor of Firefox driver. So now what will happen is when Firefox opens, it will open this particular friend profile. Okay, when you run this, you will see that Firefox opens up, and if you look at the bookmark, see the Google bookmark is here, it was there in the friends profile, and Firebug is also there in this window. Okay, so this is the concept of Firefox profiling. At times you will be needing this, right, because you would want that a particular profile of Firefox should open up. Fine. Now this kind of thing is not available. Profiling concept is not there in Chrome or IE. It's not there. It's only in Firefox. Okay. Don't get confused that how will I open a Chrome profile or something like that. Many times people they come to me with this question. Right. The concept of Firefox profiling is only there in Chrome or IE. Now when do you use this concept? You use it when you are testing, HTTPS websites are there, you get certificate errors and all. To handle those errors, you use the concept of Firefox profiling. Then at times you have to set some user agents and all, you have to change the agents. So again, you have to use the concept of Firefox profiling. Or sometimes you have to test a website on a proxy, right? You have to set some proxy setting into tools options over here, right? So at that time as well, fine, you end up just a minute. Okay. Yeah, okay, it's okay. Yeah, at that time as well, you end up setting the proxy setting into a profile, and you launch that particular profile. Okay, so many times you would feel the need for this profiling if you are doing some advanced concepts or advanced projects on Selenium. Right. Any questions from anybody? Anything? Okay, Parag, can we initialize the objects using external data sheet? You mean this one? Look,
No, Ashish, I mean to say that can we initialize the objects that you initialize in the constructor? Can we do that using external data sheet?
yeah, you can read the data from the Excel data sheet and then initialize the object.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Okay, you can obviously, but you'll have to like at least this code new followed by the class name will have to be written by you.
Okay, okay, no problem.
Data can be read from the Excel file. That's not it. Okay. Right. Now, fine. Any other question from anyone? Anything? Right. So this is the concept of profiling. Fine. Now I will move further and hold on. Right. So out here I was talking about XPATHS. Right. I told how to go to Gmail, how to get the XPath. Fine. And in the XPath, how to actually use the XPath, right? Now basically many times what happens is you will not get the XPath from Firefox. Okay, for example, again suppose I'm just taking very simple site in the beginning. I'm again on Gmail. Fine. Many times you will not feel the need of, or you will not find that Firefox is giving me very good XPaths. Okay, at that point of time you will have to make your own set of XPaths. Right, I'll tell you about making your own set of XPaths, but many times people they ask me, then what is the use of IDE or something? Why do we need to use XPaths actually? Because sometimes, many times people find using XPaths a little bit tough. Fine. Now suppose you have an object like this on your application, which is constantly changing. You see that? This number is increasing constantly. So if I have to read the value, for example, I want to read the 10 changed numbers, that is the first 10 changed values out of this number. How will I do that? If you observe carefully, the XPath of this element would remain same. Okay, hold on, let me close this Firefox profile and open up the profile in which I had installed Firepath. If I am on this website and if I look at this particular element, then this particular element has got this XPath. Now the XPath will remain constant. XPath will not change. Although the value is changing, it's a span with the ID quota. Right? The value would keep on changing. So you can detect this element with an XPath and you can poll consistently to get the first 10 changed values. Right? This will help you a lot. Right? So instead of like the basic thing is, I'm just giving you a very simple example. The crux is that what I want to tell you that even if the object changes, right, the XPath of that object will remain same, right? So provided the ID and all, it remains same. Sometimes, like for example, page like Times of India.com. Hold on. Alright. So suppose this is the headlines. Fine. Okay. This is the headline. Now every day the headlines will change. Okay. Every day a new headline will come up. But if you get the XPath, if you get the XPath, this XPath would remain the same, provided the developer he doesn't do any major change in the structure of the page. Okay, so this XPath would remain the same, and you can get the headings again and again. Fine. So this is the relevance of XPath. Maybe you can try it out. Okay, you can try the Gmail example. Fine. Try to print the first 10 change values of this number. It's a simple logic. What you need to do is that you need to go to gmail.com, and whenever this number changes, you need to print the new value is this, and you need to print it 10 times, like the first 10 change numbers. Okay, you just go there and try it out. Fine.